Today's episode of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown is brought to you by Jeanette McKenzie, Realtor at Forest Hill Signature, and Jewelry Forever at jewelryforever.ca. Enjoy the show.
Broadcasting live from Glenmore Record Studios in Toronto, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown, your Sunday morning talk show with interesting guests, live musical performances, and the most fun you can fit in your coffee cup. Hosted by Scott Dion Brown and Regine Alaina, this is The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown.
Happy, everybody. Indeed, a new year is upon us. 2021 was quite an experience for us all. It was not the year we wanted. It was not the year we expected. But we got through it, ladies and gentlemen. We got through it. And so Happy New Year to you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 161 and episode 1 of 2022. It's going to take me a while to get used to saying 2022. Hello, Ice. Happy Ice. Happy. And Happy New Year to you, Ice. Look at it. We made it. Here we are in a brand new year. It's been a year since I was live streaming. I didn't stream since last year. It's crazy how long it's been. Hi, everybody. I'm Scott Dion Brown, your host, and I'm joined by the greatest co-host in the galaxy. I haven't seen her since last year, ladies and gentlemen. The one, the only,
Regine Alaina. Happy Sunday and Happy New Year, everyone. And Scott, this is the first time we've seen each other in almost in a year. You're right. It's been a year.
I haven't seen you since last year, Regine. So much time has gone by.
Definitely. I mean, it's only been a few days, but 2 to be exact.
You know, it's one of those things. How was your New Year, Regine?
It was good. I actually got to see my family for the first time in 2 years. I haven't seen them since the 2020 countdown, so it was nice to actually see them. Like we were talking about it previously, the last time I saw them I was 28. I'm now 30. It's so wild to think, but you know, it is what it is, and I'm just glad that I got to see them safely and no one is sick so far, knock on wood. So yeah, how was yours?
Yeah, it was a muted affair. We didn't I basically just stayed home pretty much. It was what's happened this Omicron business. I don't know if you've had this experience, but the other variants, Alpha and Delta and all those, I didn't really know many people who had actually gotten it. You know, everybody who I knew got it was a friend of a friend got it. You know, so I knew it was happening, and you hear about the case counts and you hear about all this stuff. But there weren't very many people that I directly know or speak to or whatever who got it. Well, that's not the case with this Omicron. There's so many people around me, in my, not necessarily my immediate circle, but people that I know or speak to or who all have it, and their whole household got it. And so I was just a little bit concerned. I was thinking about hanging out with, even going up to my parents' place or doing something, family related. But the case numbers were really high. So we just stayed in. We just didn't really do much. So.
No, and that's fair. I mean, myself and my fiance, we both took a rapid test because he got them since he's a teacher. Thank goodness, didn't have to line up for 2 hours to not get one. So we know for ourselves that we are negative, which is why we felt comfortable going. And I know that my family is really careful. Like they're super, like their bubbles are small. So I felt comfortable that way. But it's true. Like I was talking to my family. I'm like, either it's an engagement announcement, a pregnancy announcement, or a COVID announcement, which it's like every other person that I see in my stories is COVID. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. I mean, what's good is so far, at least I know in my own people that I've spoken to, everybody who's gotten it, their symptoms have all been mild, which seems to track with this Omicron one is it's more contagious but less severe. So that's good. I'm hoping. Yeah.
Sorry. Can I just say, just to like lighten the mood a little bit, because we started our New Year's show talking about the pandemic, but I don't know if you've seen it, but on TikTok, R&B star Omarion has made a video because a lot of people have been calling it the Omarion or have been using his videos, like his music videos, and being like, oh, haha, like I'm the new variant. So he actually put out a video, and I was waiting for this, where he was like, I am not a variant. I am not a disease. So if you guys bump into me, you don't need to isolate for 5 days. I'm like, this is perfect. This is what we needed to see. So thank you, Omarion.
Yeah, his name. That's it's pretty close to the. Well, remember the same thing happened. In fact, they really kind of stopped calling it this, but in the beginning, they were always calling it the coronavirus, right?
Yeah.
And so Corona Beer was like, please stop, please.
But their sales went up. If you I don't know if you heard that. So the Corona beer sales actually went up. So now I'm here being like, well, Omarion, if you were smart, you would go make up some new music and like bank on this right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are the odds that we would have been talking about Omarion if not for this exact thing?
I mean, he was on The Masked Singer. So
I've never seen The Masked Singer. I've never seen it.
It's good. You have to watch it. You need cable, so you can watch it.
Yeah, that's the one. So the celebrity, it's always a celebrity of some kind in there, and they sing in a ridiculous costume, right? And then people have to guess who it is. Is that how it goes? I might give it a look. Ice. Lightning McQueen reminds me of a car, not gonna lie. I mean, isn't he a car?
He's a race car.
You're right, Ice. You are right. Oh, you know what's one thing that kind of I don't know what's the right word. It kind of annoyed me. Did you watch any of the like TV New Year's celebrations?
10 minutes before countdown.
Yeah, I tuned in a little bit, about a half hour, and I was switching between the American one, like the Times Square, and then and then this year, usually there's like a Toronto one, and then there's another one at Niagara Falls, and there's like the one at Ottawa. So there's a bunch to watch. But I only found one, which was like the Canadian one. But obviously because
you don't have cable.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Because on City TV was playing the New York one, and then CBC was playing like the national one. Well, because I think also like I don't think Toronto had one this year, right? Like an individual thing.
They had it on Culture TO website. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, and there was like a big event. Was there a lot of people?
It was a virtual event.
Oh, okay.
But I did see on social media all the people that were at Nathan Phillips Square, even though they said not to come to Nathan Phillips Square. And was there social distancing, ladies and gentlemen? No.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I was trying to point out right now is that so I was switching between the Canadian one and the US one. And I was kind of getting annoyed with the US one because it's like one thing that I will say with the Canadian one, it's usually the case with the Canadian one is it's like, you know, the artists that they get tend not to be like the biggest names, right? Because, well, in Canada, all of our biggest artists tend to go to the US, right? So like, so it's more likely that they would be playing. That's just the way it is. And everything. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Justin Bieber, Sean did.
Yeah.
Same with you.
Exactly. So it was fine. But the thing that I will say about the Canadian one was it was clearly a like a COVID social distance event. Like for starters, there was no audience, right? There was no live audience.
Mm.
So they were basically just cutting to various performances around the country. And
Mhm.
there was one specifically that I noticed that even the actual performers on the stage, they were standing really far apart from each other, and they had them like there was a DJ at the one side of the stage, and there was somebody else doing something else on the other side, and they were all like behind like these plastic barriers, and then the singer was like 10 feet away from each of them singing in the middle. And I was like, oh, okay, well you can see they're doing it, and obviously it's not as cool without an audience and everything, but they're doing it, you know.
Mhm.
And then I cut over to the one at the Times Square one, and I remember at one point Ryan Seacrest is like, well, we're here at 25% capacity, trying to like imply that they're like taking COVID seriously. But the 25% thing, that only makes sense like if the people are spread out, right? Like if
And the full capacity. Yeah.
yes, so if you have exactly, so if you've got 100% of your capacity or 100% of your venue, and you're letting in 25%, then exactly, you want to spread out the people over the 100% so that 75% of the room is around all the people. But the
Not
people they
using-
had there were just bunched up in crowds. So
Mhm.
I don't know, it was just kind of like it almost felt like they were trying to, I don't know, like they
They
were
were
just
saying the things that we wanted to hear, but not doing the things that they should be doing.
yeah, it's like you're playing lip service to it, and then like you see people, they're wearing masks. It's like it's good, yes, masks are a good idea. They do work, but they're also like the lowest line of defense, right? Like,
Mhm.
like I remember even anytime I've had to be in a position where there's a place that I'm in, like either on set or something, where they've got like COVID rules, they always got it written like mask use is like the lowest level, and then the second level is like distance, and then the third one is like they've got this whole thing like, I don't know, setting up that where people are going to be moving. So like there's this whole hierarchy of like what's the most important thing, and masks is always at the bottom, right? Because the masks aren't magic. They'll stop droplets, but it's still not, so,
Mhm.
so anyway, it just felt like you said, like they were almost just playing lip service to oh yeah, no, we're doing this seriously, this is safe. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, fine, you have a few less people there, but like a crowd of people is still a crowd of people.
Mhm.
It's always
Well,
just like,
I mean,
yeah,
it's America. Like, and not to call out those who are watching from America, because I know there are a lot in your stream, but let's be real. If you go to America, if you're not wearing a mask, you look like you're not vaccinated, even though you are. Like my cousin goes to school in the US, but she's from Ontario. And my aunt, every time she crosses the border, she always says she feels like she's being singled out because she is wearing her mask. And people are like, oh, you're not vaccinated. And she's like, I am. And they're like, oh, put a mask on or take your mask off. And it's a whole other culture, COVID wise, in America compared to other parts of the world.
So you're saying so the idea is like if you're wearing a mask, it means that you didn't get
You're not
vaccinated yet,
vaccinated.
and if you are vaccinated, then you shouldn't be wearing the mask. Is that what?
But there are still people who are not vaccinated, who are anti-vax, anti-mask, anti-everything, who are freely roaming around. So
yeah,
that is the culture in the States, and I guess they tried their best. But
I guess so.
Us Canadians looking outside in are like, wait a minute. Yes, it's 25% capacity, but you're all squished within that 25% capacity.
Yeah, it just felt very like, the thing is, I'd almost prefer, and I don't prefer this, but I would almost prefer if you're going to like not actually do any of the safety things, like don't act like you are. Yeah, like, and I understand like there are people who are over this, and they don't want to do any of this stuff anymore. They don't want to do these restrictions. So if you're going to do that, fine. Like you're going to take that risk. Okay, you're going to take the risk, but like don't like do that and then at the same time be like, no, but we were being really safe though. I'd almost rather you're just like, no, like, I don't know. It's just something about it that was
just don't lie about it.
Yes. And Journey performed, and they were really good.
I saw that.
Yeah. That singer they got has a good voice, yeah.
Arnold Pineda.
If that's his name.
I think that's his name. The Filipino guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned it earlier, Scott. You said there was a band, they were performing, they were social distance. Would you do that again? because like you're a performer, so would you feel comfortable performing if you and your band, say, Symphony of Nine or the Siggy Music, were all separated with plexiglass?
Yeah, I mean that I would definitely be fine for that. I mean, the thing is, before Omicron, it was a little different, but maybe things are going to change. Like I'm kind of waiting, right? Because with Omicron, we're seeing like, yes, it's more, like we said, it's more contagious, less severe. So it may be the case that maybe it's okay to just start to not be so worried about it. I'm waiting on that. But with the previous variants, Alpha, Delta, all those things, I would have been fine with playing with a band again, because my concern with events like that, going to public events, is you don't know who's there, right? You don't know. So my concern would be more the audience, because I know, like, let's say if I'm putting a band together, right? Like if I was told that I had to responsibly, you have to perform an event, right? I would set it up the way they've done it for the film industry and stuff, where, okay, so guys, we're going to be at this place at this time, so you all have to go get a test a few days before. You need to isolate before, you know what I mean? Like I know that I could get my group to build a bubble that we could do it safely. But then if you're going to then take those four of us who I know we've worked together, maybe we're bubbling together, whatever we have to do, you're going to put me now in a venue filled with people that maybe they've been bubbling, you know, or maybe they're people who go out every night because they don't believe it's like, you don't know who's going to be there, right? So would I perform again? Yeah, I could do live. Could I do like virtual events? Yes. Am I ready to go into like a large room with like no types of restrictions or anything? I'm not quite there yet. I mean, we will again, I'm sure, eventually, but yeah. That's why this, like the CBC one, if I'd been told, yeah, Scott, you could, we'd love you to have you perform. I could do that, because my guess is it's probably been set up the same way they set up any film and television situation, where I guarantee you every person who's there has been tested and all that, you know, so you know that there's some limitations in place. But we got a bunch of people saying hello in the chat. Taylor Brown, hello everybody. Make sure you follow my brother's channel.
Hello.
Happy New Year. He posted, I don't know if you've seen it, Regine, he posted a van life video.
I did. I watched it, and I commented. It's great because, like, I remember after our episodes, he'd be sitting there watching all these videos, and it's just like, I know you want one, just get one. And the fact that he did, it's awesome. Congrats, Taylor.
It's a cool
and
van.
Can I just say thank you for always being available as a co-host.
It worked out. He popped in at the right time. I know. It was
But the only difference is now he can't use my hair in the photos.
I know. It's true. He went short. He went short. Well,
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he'll grow it back. We'll find out, Regine. We'll find out.
2022.
Yeah, exactly. Mike Brown is here. My dad. Good morning, kids. Happy New Year. Have a great show. Thank you, Dad.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Oh, Raisa's here as well.
Hey.
She says, hello, how are you both? Happy New Year. Looking great. Happy New Year, Raisa.
Happy New Year.
And also, Christian is here as well. Happy New Year. It's about to be 1 year of using my accounts to sub in streams. Well, Happy New Year and happy 1 year anniversary to you there, Christian.
That's awesome.
Taylor wrote, thanks, Regina. No problem. One day. So there you go.
You know what would be awesome? If Taylor and I did a show together and he co-hosted for you. I just don't know how we do that, but just give us your login and
yeah. Maybe it's like, so Scott can't be there, but yes, Taylor and I will take the reins.
There you go.
Who knows?
Just putting it out there.
One day. Do you have any? Did you make any New Year's resolutions?
I thought about it yesterday after you messaged and you're like, yeah, let's talk about that. I'm like, do I have any you know what? I always say I'm going to be healthier. I'm going to do this, but I actually do need to get healthier and stay focused and stay fit. But it's great because shout outs to Buff Boy Wayne Williams, who's been on our show, because he is sponsoring me once again for Galaxy International. So he'll keep me accountable. But one thing is I want to sleep earlier. I find that I sleep later and later and later, and I wake up later and later and later, even though I start work at 8:30. So I want to sleep earlier and wake up earlier. I don't know if I will, but
that's a good one.
Oh, one more thing, and I want all of you to keep me accountable. I want to get my G2 by the end of 2022.
That's a good
Scott's
idea.
like, yes, please.
So you have your G1?
No.
Oh, so
I
you have
did.
it. Oh, yeah, it would have
twice.
expired. Okay, yeah. For people watching who aren't, I guess, is that Ontario or is it national? How do the licenses work?
It's Canadian. So in America, it would have been your permit. I had a permit twice, and it expired twice.
Yeah.
My
Okay.
written test. So I have to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. So in Canada,
So
we
keep
have
me
the.
accountable.
All right. When are you planning to get it?
Don't worry about it, but I want to get it by the end of the year.
By the end of the year. Okay, that works. Actually, I think it'll probably take. So yeah, in Canada, we have the graduated licensing system. So when you go get your license, first you have to write a test, and that gives you the G1, and then you have to. Is it a year that has to go by, or
I think
8
it's
months?
a few months, something like that. Yeah.
So however many months go by, then you can get your G2, and that allows you to drive. With your G1, you can only drive with somebody else with you in the car, right? A fully licensed
That
driver
has their
to be with
G.
you.
Yeah.
And then G2, you can drive alone, but there's restrictions on when you can drive, right?
I'll let you know. I have to start studying.
Yeah, I think they've also even changed it, but I think it used to be, you could drive on your own with the G2, but not past a certain time, and also you had to have zero alcohol content in your body at all times. And then I think G, then that's a full license, and there you're just subject to the regular rules. Okay, that's a good resolution.
Hold me account. You know what it is? It's my two younger brothers both got their licenses, their G2s on New Year's Eve. And I was like, man. And so, of course, the whole family on New Year's is like, when are you going to get yours? And I'm like, let's be real. The only reason why I got my G1 to begin with is because I didn't want to be the passport girl at the bar or at the club.
So have you ever actually driven a car? Like have you been behind the wheel? Okay.
I have. I was so close to getting my G2 years ago. And then I got really busy with school and forgot about it, and then it expired. Like I was this close. Like I literally had the in-car lessons. I was so close to booking, and then
yeah, I mean, you know what it is. I will say though, it is more out of like. I mean, yeah, it's funny to think, oh, you don't have your license, but at the same time, it's kind of an out of necessity thing. Like I remember me, like in Canada, you can get your license. You can start getting your license at 16. And I know there's a lot of people who are when they turn 16, it's like that. Yeah, that day they go and get it, right? But I didn't until I was 18, I think, and that's just because at the time when I turned 16, like I didn't need to drive anywhere. Like there was nothing that I was doing at the time or anywhere that I was going that I was like, oh yeah, I need a car for this. And so I never cared to go get it. And it wasn't until when I was 18 and I started going to York University, which was much further away than my high school was. And suddenly I was like, oh, it'd be so nice to have my license to drive to to university sometimes. And so, so once there was a necessity for me to get it, then I went and got it. So in your case, like if you haven't needed to drive,
it.
Yeah. So
like
why?
Where I used to live in Mississauga was on the GO line. So my house was here, the GO station was here, and that one was a Lakeshore West line. So it went from as far as now Niagara or Hamilton all the way to Oshawa. So I didn't need to drive because I went to school downtown. So I would just jump on the GO train. And then now I live right by the subway station. So it's like,
yep. Yeah, like I
should get it.
Yeah, I mean, what's your New Year's resolution? You have to get it now.
I said it online. So
yeah. Well, because I was even thinking like during the pandemic, especially when things were really locked down, I remember my girlfriend and I even had a conversation of like, do we need a car? Do we even need a car? Because like we were hardly going. In fact, our car sat for like months. I think at one point we were hardly going anywhere.
There's a streetcar loop right by your house.
Well, that's the other thing is like I was looking around and I have had this conversation even with my brother. We've talked about it a little bit just for where we drive and how this is before he moved, but I remember he was even mentioning like if you really add up, what you spend on gas and insurance and all the car upkeep and all that stuff, if you just took Uber instead, it may actually end up being cheaper just to do Ubers, depending how often you drive. Right. So the only issue
I
I'd
work
find,
from home.
yeah, exactly. That's the other thing, right? So the only time I was driving anywhere was like if I have to go pick something up, but it's not often. Like,
Groceries.
let's say it's like once a week, right? Sometimes less. So you think if I were to just, let's say I just took an Uber to the store once a week. So what's that going to be, like $10-$20, depending how far it is there and back, let's say. Let's say you get, so that's once a week. Let's say that's your only trip. You're saying $80 a month. That's going to be less than insurance and gas.
And upkeep and
everything else. Yeah. So,
I mean, don't try to swim me out of this, okay?
Regine, I don't know if you need to get your license. I mean, I just think maybe.
Where were you on New Year's Eve where everyone was like, you should get your license?
Yeah.
Where have you been my whole life and everyone's been telling me to do it?
Well, it'll be nice to. I mean, the thing about having the license obviously is like, well, like Raisa just said, keep your car, lol. As soon as you leave the city, you'll need it. Yeah. So, I mean, the idea is like, obviously,
true.
It's a good thing to have just in case you need it. Because one thing that I will say, especially with the graduated licensing system, is it's like, as soon as necessity comes up and says to you, oh, you need to be able to drive, right? It's like you go get your G1 and it's like months and months before that. So from the time you feel like you want to go get it, you're going to wait like a year before you've got your entire full G. So might as well do it now. Who knows?
I've downloaded an app. Okay, guys, it's happening. Well, okay, so enough about me. Yeah, it's like a G1 Genius or whatever. I don't know. My cousin told me to download it. I was like, okay.
They didn't have that in my day.
They didn't.
In my day, you had to go to Shoppers and get a instruction book.
I have the book because it's all of the test changed. So now I'm really upset because I need to learn all these new demerit point systems, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's the main change
they
made.
Harder now.
I think the rules and things are more or less the same, but yeah, they've made a bunch of. I think things are they're more strict now, right? Like there are more things.
It's annoying. I shouldn't have done this to myself, but I did. But you, Scott, what are your New Year's resolutions besides telling me why I shouldn't get my license?
That's right. I forgot. I didn't even get to mine.
No.
So my New Year's resolutions are, most of them, they're kind of similar to last year, except I feel like I have to be more. No, wait. 2 years ago, did I have them last year? That's the thing. It's all mush because of COVID. But I have mentioned on the show before how, like, the thing that I think I was kind of not happy with myself about was I wasn't as productive as I wanted to be, right? Like, especially, I know we've talked about it in the past, like when the pandemic first hit and everybody was at home, and like there were some people who were, wow, I've got all this extra time. I can use this to create something brand new or dive into a brand new project, right? And I did a bit of that. I mean, I started live streaming, which is a pretty big change for my channel. But in terms of stuff that I actually wanted to be producing and being more consistent with that, I do find I really wasn't as disciplined as I wish I was, and I feel like I should have been. So my hope now for this year is to take steps to do that more. I want to be more productive with the content I'm creating, stuff I'm writing, just make things in general. Like, basically, I don't want another storage room B. Like, yes, I can say I produced a film over the pandemic, right? But I don't want it to be.
But did you?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like faster.
You did and you didn't. Yeah.
Get more done in a day. So I think part of that will be, I like what you said about going to bed earlier. And in my case, it may not necessarily be that, but I think I'm probably going to try to wake up earlier. Because like my routine lately now is like, because of just the nature of the work that I do, it's rare that I have to be up at an exact time, right? It's more likely that I have been given a deadline. So like whether it's a self-tape or some other project that somebody needs me to make. So because of that, I could start at 2:00 in the afternoon if I want to, right? And just work late or whatever I have to do. But I think in terms of for productivity, I'd rather maybe get up at a set time and like put in certain, you know what I mean? So I want to do that.
You need an agenda. And I
Yeah.
know we've said this. This is actually your now 4th time saying this on the show.
Mhm.
But I think you should. I think, you've always mentioned that you want to be more productive, but I feel like if you actually have an agenda or something physical to write on, because you are also a note taker, I would consider getting yourself an agenda, like a physical. This is not my office, but get a physical notebook or something and just say, this is what I'm going to accomplish this week. Because you're good with deadlines, right? So give yourself a deadline, a mental deadline on when you need to get things done. So that way you're not just, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week.
Yep. And you know what? Actually, I think you're right. And also the other thing that I think I need to do, and my girlfriend mentioned this to me, is that, and I think this is good advice for anybody who's got New Year's resolutions, by the way. You're better off making, like, don't just have your one goal. Like, let's say your goal is like to get fit, right? Which is also kind of another one I have, because I want to get back into the gym again. But rather than setting like that's your plan for the year, using the agenda situation or however you're going to use it, you need to break it down smaller than that, right? So like, instead of like, this is my plan for the year, like, what's your plan, like you said, Regine, for the day? And so like in my case, I shouldn't just write a song, right? It should be, today I'm going to like record the drum track, you know what I mean? Or like write one verse of that song. So you break it into smaller pieces. It's a lot easier to like, one, get yourself going and track your progress. Whereas if you write just like, write this or write script, right? Then
That's
it almost
like a
feels
2-week thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's much more daunting and much larger. So yeah, my main New Year's resolution is to get more productive in terms of producing content, and then in there lies like I want some original music to come out. I've written a song that I want to produce. I want to do more of that. I got to produce some type of film project, and just in general, more consistent. Yeah.
No, finish.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you know what it is? I want there are just some days where like the day will go by, and then it's like I just look at the day and I go, what did I do today?
Yeah.
And there weren't that many days like that, but there were some, and I like to be less days like that. And I would also, even on days where I got something done, I want there to be more days where I got like a lot done. Because I feel better. I feel better when I've done stuff.
No, I feel the same way. Like at my work, because I work from home, it's so much harder to figure out like, okay, did I even do anything today, or did I just sit here on TikTok all day? But we started implementing a task management meeting every morning. So literally telling the entire marketing team, okay, this is what I've done today or yesterday. This is my goal for today. And to actually see the colors change from, yellow to green is just, it's nice. It's nice to see.
Yeah, you can track your progress. You can actually track what's happening. Exactly.
Hey, one thing.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I just wanted to say, because I forgot and then it clicked in my brain. My mom said she saw a new commercial of you.
Is it LG?
No.
What was it?
Are you in another commercial? She's like, I think I saw Scott in a commercial. I was like, was it the horse track or horse race one? And she's like, no, it was a different one. It was on YouTube, I think. She said she saw it.
I know that I am in an LG washing machine commercial that is on YouTube. I've only myself seen it once. When I was in Quebec City randomly, I was sitting in the hotel bed and suddenly one of the ads popped up and I was like, I know that ad. It's me.
No, I don't know. She saw you. She goes, oh, he's so puggy in this advertisement, which is handsome. And I was just like, okay, I'll tell him. And then I forgot, and now I'm telling you.
Yeah, ask her what I was doing. I mean, it's also entirely possible, especially with online stuff. Like, they could have chosen to re-air it. You know what I mean? Like, they do that sometimes as well. So,
Mom, if you're watching, please tell us.
Yeah, let me know what it is.
Commercial was it?
Yeah. Hi, everybody who's popping into the chat. Night Wolf is here. Happy New Year. Night Wolf, how are you?
Year.
Kadane Adderley, I just realized I had your notifications on personalized. Oh, ring that bell.
Nice.
Hi. Happy New Year, Kadane. Raisa says the app. Oh, the driving app. The app is so much easier to learn and memorize the rules. Yeah, I guess it would be.
Good to know.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah, my cousin, she was like, I know it's been like 14 years since you. I'm like, thanks for calling me out. She's like, you should download this app. I'm like, okay.
So you don't need the book anymore.
No.
Raisa says, I have a question. If I give you a movie script, could you produce it?
Ooh.
Yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously it depends on the scope of the project, but yes, that is in my skill set. Mr. Scribbles TV, hey, Happy New Year. Wait, you're an actor?
Happy New
Yes, I am,
Year.
or at least trying to be. I am when I have the job.
You just gotta say you are. Don't say you're not. Have you been on TV? Have you been on commercials? Yes and yes.
True.
So therefore, you are an actor.
True. You know, the only thing is I tend to, I'm not sure if this is good or not, but I tend to have this idea that, like, if I'm not currently in something or currently doing something, then am I that thing? You know what I mean?
Yes, you are. It's on your resume.
That's true. Anyway,
There you
but
go.
yeah, so I guess the answer is yes, Mr. Scribbles. Same thing. It's like, you know what it is. You know what it is about that is I kind of want to be. It's more of like a way to kick myself in the butt. In that, I don't want to be those people, say, on Instagram who are like constantly posting, like, say there's like they say they're a musician or whatever, and so they always post all these like photos of them, and it'll say like writing or like, oh, creating. You know what I mean? But then I'm like, are you really though? You know what I mean? Like if you're a
When
song.
did you take this picture?
Yeah, it's like if you're a songwriter, like basically this, you're not a songwriter if you're not writing songs. So like if you haven't written a song in like a year, are you a songwriter? Or maybe you used to be, you know? I'm not
How
sure.
about in 2022 you change your mindset?
I mean,
Just kidding.
I do want to change my mindset.
No, but I get it, yeah.
I want to change my mindset, but I almost would rather like make sure that I'm just always creating so that I can say I am a creator of things.
That's exactly what you are. A creator of things, of music, of film, of vlogs, of
But if I'm not
streams,
creating, am I creating?
But you
Am I
are
a creator?
creating. You're creating content for your
True.
YouTube channel.
We're creating it right now. We are
There you
right now
go.
in this moment.
We're creating what we're trying to say.
That's right. People in the chat, do you guys have any New Year's resolutions? Let us know if you have any New Year's resolutions. I would love to hear them. Raisa says you have a better acting portfolio than most TikTok actors. Claim it. Thanks,
And
Raisa.
on that note,
Well, you know, we're working on it. We should do the ads, shouldn't we? Okay, we're gonna do quickly the ads, and then we're gonna come back and chat a little bit more about things. That's one thing I like. I mean, I love having guests on the show, Regine, but like one thing I know for sure is when there isn't a guest and you and I can just talk, the show can just like we're just yeah.
But wait, before you go into commercial break, can you just, if your girlfriend's not home, can you make sure you did not put the lock on this time?
She's home. She's home.
Okay,
I
good,
won't lock her
good.
out. I won't lock her out. Thank you though, Regine. That's good. Okay. Oh, good. I'm seeing some New Year's resolutions roll in, so we'll read them after the ads. Ladies and gentlemen, today's episode of The Sit Down with Scott Dion Brown is brought to you by the following fantastic advertisers. The Toronto real estate market is growing and changing every day. In these challenging times, you need someone in your corner. Jeanette McKenzie, Realtor at Forest Hill Signature, is committed to looking out for you. She'll go the extra mile to ensure you have all the information you need to make a decision you can feel confident about. Purchasing a home is one of the biggest financial investments you'll make in life. Don't leave it to chance. Call Jeanette McKenzie at Forest Hill Signature. She's my realtor, and she could be yours. That's right. The place I'm living in right now, she found it for us. Call today at 416-523-0408 or email at jmckenziehomes@gmail.com. Jewelry forever. Conveniently located at CF Markville Shopping Center on 5000 Highway 7 East Markham, they do custom-made jewelry, repairs, and change watch batteries, all done on site. And we have a fantastic deal worked out with them, don't we, Regine?
We do. If you go in and let them know that Scott and Regine sent you, you'll get 15% off your entire purchase.
That's right. 15% off, 15%. Mention the show. Jerry at Jewelry Forever is an absolute artist. He makes beautiful custom things. If you have an idea or a vision for something that you'd like created, he is the man to do it. But they also have a fine selection of already made goods that you can choose. You'll definitely find something special. Find out more at jewelryforever.ca.
And if you don't believe us, go check out their TikTok, because he actually shows you how he's creating all these amazing pieces.
That's right. He is on TikTok now. Is it just at Jewelry Forever on TikTok?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Search Jewelry Forever on TikTok. They post some interesting things. And tell them Scott and Regine sent you. And if you would like to advertise on the show, it's very easy, right, Regine?
It's simple. New year, new advertisements. Email us at radioshowad, that's radioshowad@gmail.com.
That's right. We do this show live every week, everybody, and we do the ads live every week. What does that mean? It means that you can personalize them week to week. If you have an event or a sale or something happening at a particular time in a particular place, you let us know. We let your potential client base know in real time. It's a great way to build a brand new relationship with a brand new audience. Get in touch. Radio Show Ad, radioshowad@gmail.com. And we're back. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. I actually lost my voice from yelling Happy New Year to people.
That'll do it. I mean,
And my stepdad's family is very loud, so I had to compete with all of them.
sounds like it was a good party. Hello, Mila Monzon. Good morning. Happy New Year to you,
Happy New
Mila.
Year, Monzon Media.
Yes, that's right. Millions on media. Yes. Happy New Year to you all. Nightwolf says, his New Year's resolution to stop being what makes me up entirely.
What?
I don't, you'll have to clarify.
Wait, say that again.
To stop being what makes me up entirely.
So he wants to change.
Well,
essentially.
Don't change too much, Nightwolf. But
exactly.
But I mean, we all want to change things about ourselves.
As Scott likes to say,
Enhance.
enhance yourself.
Yeah.
Don't change yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, me personally, like I always want to. I try to recognize the things about myself that I would prefer to change, and then work to change them.
Enhance.
But yeah. Enhance is the better word, because no person needs to change like entirely. I mean, I feel like you don't want to. Everybody puts a lot of pressure on themselves, so you don't want to necessarily be too hard on yourself about who you are, because you're good, you know what I mean. But if there are little things, specifically if there are goals that you want, or if there's something that you want to do or achieve, I think it's good to put some pressure on yourself to do it. Not too much, but a healthy amount. And also to remember that everybody is going through the same thing you are. So keep that in mind, everybody. We talked about New Year's resolutions.
Anyone else have any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, let us know in the chat. Yeah, if you guys got some other resolutions, I'd like to hear them. I'm curious.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Oh. Never mind.
Ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say there was one other thing I mentioned that I forgot to do. It's not really a New Year's resolution, but I decided for the month of January, just to see what happens, I'm going to cut out all added sugar. So no candy. It's really just candy. Candy's the main one, because candy is my worst one. Like alcohol has a lot of sugar in it, but I don't drink that much anyway, so I'm not that worried as much as that. But
rewind to last week's episode on
yeah, well, that's like, I mean, the holidays especially. like there was so much, like every day I was like, it was only during the holidays this past month where I was like, I'd wake up in the morning and the first thing I would eat would be like chocolate or like something.
I guess it doesn't help that you ordered Doritos.
Luckily, I got those eaten really quick, so I think that's how that works. But yeah, anyway, so for this month, and then I wanted to see what happens. Like, if I'm gonna notice any kind of difference in like how I feel, or just in general, like cravings or whatever. I'm just curious, and then maybe I'll carry it on past January. But for the month of January, that's one thing I was gonna do. Now what were you gonna say?
I was gonna ask, what are your 2022 goals for the sit down?
I mean, an ultimate goal eventually would be to be in person again.
Mhm.
Like, I would like that just
Yeah.
because, I mean, I've said this before, but I feel like we were really,
It's
we were,
different in person.
yeah, and what we were doing, like some of the episodes that we were getting to. In fact, if you get a chance, guys, if you want to go back and watch some of the episodes that happened just before COVID, where we had like a musical guest would come in and they would do a whole performance live in studio, and we were having these segments and food
Snacks.
segments, and just there was really, it had an atmosphere. There was an atmosphere in the show and in the room that we were creating that was really, really interesting. And I feel just like we were on the cusp of
We were
something.
right here, and then
Yeah.
the pandemic hit.
Yeah. And like I have enjoyed this way of doing the show. I mean, one thing that was definitely, and we talked about this before, it was never on our mind, was interviewing people across the world, right?
Mhm.
Having guests on who weren't just in the Toronto area. That being said, and we're still going to continue to do that even when we're doing it in person. Like, we'll still have the odd distance one if a person can't be there. But yeah, so that would be the ultimate goal. But then again, I guess in a way that's not up to us, because it's kind of, yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I mean, that's the weird part, is like, are there more segments? Maybe we should try to come up with other fun segments that we can kind of do over
Virtually.
distance. Yeah. I mean, like, I did like when we did the taste tests. I liked when we did that pop one with, what is it? Ginger ale. What ginger ale actually is. So maybe we could try to work in more of that for 2022. Because I guess one of the issues is when we first started doing the show over distance, it was always kind of a temporary, oh, we're only doing this until for
a few weeks. No big deal.
Yeah, exactly. 2 weeks, everybody. And so now it's kind of become normal. And so I guess maybe because we don't know how long it's going to be like this, we probably should, I guess, innovate in this format a little bit more. So,
What's interesting, because we haven't done anything together in person until our Christmas greeting.
That's right. We did a little outdoor shoot. Yeah.
But even that, it just felt so natural. I guess because, like, even though we're so used to now doing this virtually, it just felt more natural having you right here, essentially.
Well, because we had been doing the show that way for what? How long was it? Over a year at that point when the pandemic hit, or was it 2 years?
Yeah, like a year and a half.
Yeah. So like we had.
Maybe 2 years. Yeah, you're right. 2 years.
Yeah. So we had like,
A year and a half.
I mean, that's true. That the standard used to be, yeah, you're sitting right here. And we had this,
Banter.
So yeah, we had a banter, and we also had, the guest was there, and like you posted the little New Year's celebration we did in the first studio.
Our first one, yeah.
And that looked so fun and just so like, woo, there was something special there, Regine.
Dollarama got all our business.
That's right. Yeah, almost every week we were going there and buying new decorations for something, and yeah. So
when the studio was decorated for Christmas with our stockings, right.
Yeah, and you broke the sign
right before going on it.
Yeah. In fact, I think the letters still need to be reattached. I noticed I was there the other day, and there's the N. The N needs to go back.
I didn't break the N.
No, I don't think this one was you. I think this one was unrelated. I think this one was unrelated.
I broke the S.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Yeah, that's right. That's okay. We'll figure it out. It's all going to be fixed, people. But yeah, so I guess, so to go to your question, plans for the sit down for 2022. Ultimate goal, be back in person again, doing the shows live in person. New
merch.
Oh, do you want to do new merch? I think we should. Maybe I should. You know what I was thinking about actually is even just rebranding. Like I actually like this logo. I don't really want to change this. I like this.
No.
But we could maybe update the color scheme and look of our live stream, like these boxes and things around us. Maybe I'll be redoing that at some point.
To all of those who are watching, let us know. Do you want new merch? If we got new merch, would you buy it, first and foremost? Because I would, but then it'd just be me buying all the merch. And then second, what segments do you want us to do?
Yeah, because right now, sit down merch, it's basically this logo on a shirt. And I think you have, and a mug, and there's a few other shirts you can get. But maybe there could be like one of the two of us on there.
Ooh, fancy.
Our faces on a shirt. Our faces on a shirt.
Ooh, we can digitalize our faces. I can ask my brother because he's really good at that stuff.
Cool, or like a cartoon version or something. That could be fun.
I just got really excited, guys. Okay. Please say you'll buy the merch so we can make it happen.
Yeah, big things. Okay, so we've got some plans. I'm glad you asked that question because I hadn't even really thought about it that much. But I think you bring up a good point. I'm not sure if that's what the point you're trying to bring up, but yeah, no, it makes sense in that, unfortunately, this version of the show is kind of the permanent version for at least until we know it's clear. So, I don't know. It sucks. This Omicron thing, like, I really, really thought we were
so close. Again, to going back in person. And then we filmed the video together in person. And then,
And then, So we'll see. We'll be back we'll do when we can. But in the meantime, we should try to come up with some other ways to innovate in this format as well. That's a good idea. So we did briefly want to talk about in the news. So
you have the worst. That's what you should work on. Segues.
Okay, here. Speaking of the news. Speaking of plans. Speaking of making plans for 2022. The owners of the Blue Jays and the Sky Dome where they play, they call it the Rogers Center now, but it'll always be the Sky Dome too. True Torontonians.
Our 90s babies, 80s babies.
Everyone must know. But the thing is, they've talked for years about, there's some group of people who always talk about wanting to tear down the Sky Dome and build a new modern stadium. And I've heard these arguments for years from people. And I don't know why. I mean, everyone talks about how they don't like going to games at the Sky Dome. I love going to games there. I've always loved it.
You know what I think it is? I don't know if it's they don't like going to the Sky Dome. I think it's they just don't like baseball.
I mean, maybe. But I've got to think the people who...
But I've been to the Sky Dome for concerts.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind that. I didn't like going there for baseball games, but I mean, their Caesars are good.
Caesars are good. But the thing I'll say about this, there's no bad view at Sky Dome. There's no seat where, there are stadiums, there are pro stadiums where you can go to where, you can have an obstructed view or, you don't see the whole, right? Sky Dome, the entire everywhere you're sitting, you can see.
Do you think it just goes up too high?
I mean, it goes up high, but but you can still see the field. You're as far away, right?
You actually see the whole.
Yeah, and then also there's an issue for me is so I obviously grew up going to those games, right? When we were really small, my parents had season tickets for Jays games, and we were up in the 500 level, and so we were going to games all the time. And I loved it, and I have obviously, so that because of that, there's these memories that I have in my brain of being Sky Dome. But the thing I think I don't like is that there's this talk about what was I about to say? Oh yeah, they want to tear down the stadium, but there are all these classic stadiums, I don't know, Wrigley Field, for example, in Chicago, right? Or the one in Boston, Fenway. Nobody talks that we got to tear those down, and it's why can't you just let something let it be, let it get old, And the other issue I have, specifically for Toronto, is I think people want to tear down, because I know the popular thing now is to put up a ballpark, which is, which I believe implies open air stadium, right? And again, yes, that works in American cities further south, but in a Canadian market like Toronto, having an open air stadium, like think about, for starters, there have been 0 games rained out in Toronto. 0. Because whenever it gets cold or it starts to rain, the dome closes over. So if you want to put in like a modern ballpark, you're going to make things a lot worse in terms of weather. One. And maybe that's the main argument. Anyway,
no, but it's true. It's true. Like because I've been to one in Cincinnati. I think it's is it Cincinnati Reds? I don't know what team they're called, but
that sounds right.
I've been to that stadium because my cousin who plays baseball in Ohio had a game there, and it's very different compared to the Sky Dome, 100%. So, and like you said, we're in Canada. We get snow. It's snowing outside right now. And the good thing about the Sky Dome is you could have not just baseball. Like I said, I've been there for concerts. I've been there for Disney on Ice. I've been there for Monster Truck, whatever it's called.
Yep.
When I was a kid, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there for all of that. And yeah, don't change this. You can change the name, just don't tear down the building.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Like, it's a year-round stadium. Like, right now, I'm looking out the window. It is blowing snow. I could go to Sky Dome right now, watch an event with a T-shirt on.
And then what's going to happen to, like, the hotels that purposefully are attached to the Sky Dome so you can get the view of the diamond?
Yeah. I mean, I imagine, my guess is if they were to tear it down, they would, rebuild hotels and things around it and everything like that. Yeah, I just think they should leave it alone. I mean, what I like now, so what they've agreed now is I think they're going to do something like a $200 million renovation, which is good. And they're
planning for letting it be.
Yeah, but I would rather they do that. Like my if I had to complain about one thing at Sky Dome, it would be that the seats are this hard plastic, So just put in different seats. Yeah, just put like if that's. Put in new seats. Like, I don't know what else they want. I know that the other thing they also want to do, and they've talked about it for years, is it's a turf field. It's not grass. And I know that the standard nowadays is grass. But I also know a few years ago, they renovated the infield to make it an all-dirt infield, which my understanding is that remedied like 90% of the problems. Because it used to be there was turf in the middle of the infield, and so I think the infielders were having a hard time, like when you're transitioning from dirt onto that turf. But when they made it all dirt on the infield, I think that remedied the vast majority of the issues. But again, and I think also converting to grass, I think there are issues like because of this type of stadium it is, they would have a hard time having real grass grow in there.
I was going to ask, how would they do that?
Yeah. But even to that, I would say find a way or don't go with like the hybrid
or stop
turf.
Complaining.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really hope they never tear it down, or at least not until, like, I know they eventually had to tear down Yankee Stadium, but I think I'm not sure why they did that. Maybe it was just because it gotten so old, like it was much older of a diamond. Maybe, I don't know, but I just know that
renovate the diamond.
Yeah, I just think of the historic stadiums, Wrigley Field, Fenway. Those are the only two that I come to mind. The ones that are like over a century old, And I'm like, if they can make it work and they're going to those diamonds, I just don't like that. It's one more thing that Toronto has always had a problem with this, and they're starting to get better at it now. But they have this problem of not allowing anything to become historical. Like they almost. It's like Toronto doesn't respect its own history, so they don't have this. They have no issue with not. Oh yeah, we should just tear that down, And so because that, there's almost like this mentality, like, oh, we're not Paris, we're not London, we're not New York, so we don't need to, we don't need to have, But I realize you don't become those types of great cities. Like there was a time when people didn't take those places seriously either, but you let things age and grow and change over a century or two or three or however. That's how you become, you know? And so I like
Look
now
at the
Toronto.
distillery district. Distillery district is probably
Yeah.
the most preserved of all. Well, minus the condos.
But we just got lucky with that in that was just because it happened to be abandoned and a developer came in who saw the vision. That's such an uncommon thing to happen in Toronto. It's so much more likely that like we were just lucky that it happened to be abandoned and nothing was happening here. But yeah, more likely they would have torn it down and put up one of those big brown boxes that they threw up in the 70s and 80s that are. So anyways.
It's so old.
Yeah, but that's the saddest part is like you look at pictures of. I remember I went down a rabbit hole once. Yeah, just pictures of buildings that were torn down, and then you look at what was put in its place. And what was put in its place was like considered very modern at the time. Like a lot of these buildings that were put up in the 70s, 80s, these kind of very, very straight edge, like just brown boxes. Mm-hmm. They were very cool at the time. It was people liked that look because it was so, I guess because it was so in contrast to these kind of decorative, like old style buildings. But they did not age well. And you look now, especially like the same things. I worry now about all these condos that are going up. They're more designed. A lot of them tend to have weird angles and the glass and everything. But I'm concerned now because they all kind of look the same. And like in 30, 40 years, how are people going to look at these condos? I don't know. So.
I mean, we'll see in 30, 40 years if we're still on the sit down. We'll be like, remember that episode when we talked about.
And again, if they put up a new stadium, when they tear down this stadium, is it going to be a retractable roof? I feel like it won't, because I think, again, I don't know what the most recent conversations are, but I know the times that I've read articles or heard about people talking about this in the past, they're always wanting to go to this look of that, the modern ballpark. Like I know a good example of is, I think the one in San Francisco, I think, is one like that, where I've been to it. It's a very beautiful stadium. It's like, it's like a big, giant open air stadium with like nice trees around it. Like, it's really pretty, but you're in San Diego. But yeah, you're look at the weather difference in those places. Yeah. So I don't know. I like the dome. It's unique. At the time when it was built, it was state of the art, and it's still the only dome now. Because I think there was one other one with a retractable roof, but I don't think they do it anymore. It's the only one that does it. It was an architectural marvel at the time. If you have a problem with it, fix what you don't like about it inside and leave it alone.
Like I said on our previous shows when we talked about this, our skyline will change if they take down the dome. So please leave it.
Yes.
Or you're going to have to change all the Toronto buildings and skylines. It's not going to be, whoop, it's going to be.
Yes. Just leave it alone. People, you don't have to change everything. Some things you can just leave it alone. You can just leave it alone.
Tell us how you really feel, Scott.
Yeah. Happy New Year. All right.
You know what was really sad?
Yeah. What?
Betty White dying right before her 100th birthday. Should have just left her alone too.
Leave her alone. Leave her alone, death. Yeah, that is. I mean, when I heard the news, I heard it on the radio when I was driving.
I thought it was a hoax.
Oh, really? I did think
it was a hoax. I was like, someone's lying. Like, it's only on TMZ. It's nowhere else. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh.
No, I heard it on whatever radio station I was listening. They announced it. I wasn't. My reaction. I mean, I wasn't sad. I was more like.
I was.
Well, I was more. My immediate reaction was like, oh. Rest in peace, Betty White, because I feel like she was a very special person, you know?
She was. And, I was sad. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, obviously you don't, she was, 99 years old, but I just felt I was grateful for the time that we had.
I just feel sad because she was this close to turning 100. Like, she literally put out, she was just in a magazine celebrating her 100th birthday. And then, not gonna happen. But then you think about it. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm curious. I think you're going to say what I'm about to say, so I want to hear what you say.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to say, but let's say she had turned 100
Mm-hmm.
and then passed away like 2 days later. Would we
At
feel
least she
different?
still made. Yes, I would feel different.
Okay, fine.
Because she did all this publicity about turning 100, and then maybe she jinxed herself.
I mean, yeah. What's the saying? Don't
celebrate before your birthday.
no.
I was
don't
always told that.
don't count your chickens before they hatch. Isn't that what they say?
Oh, never heard of that. But that sounds about right.
The idea is like you could have, 50 eggs, and you're like, I'm gonna have 50 chickens, but you don't know if all 50 of those eggs are gonna hatch. That's the saying.
Very true. Wise words from Scott Dion Brown.
Yeah, I came up with that. Saying. That's right.
Copywritten.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Stay away. I'm kidding.
No. Oh no. No, I think it's coffee grinds or something.
Ooh.
But Happy New Year, Regine.
Happy New Year, Scott, and to all of you watching.
Yeah, I think this was a good episode. We can continue to talk, but I
Scott
feel
has
like
a whole
we hit
list, ladies and gentlemen. Like he probably has a list like this, or just like a things to talk about.
Yeah, I had a couple talking points. We hit most of them.
We'll save
though.
it for next year.
Yeah, next year. Yeah. Next New Year's episode. But yeah, all you guys who tuned in, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you watching. We appreciate you supporting us over this last year. And I hope you guys had a nice new year. And if you didn't, I'm sorry, but I hope things get better. And keep your head up. We're all in this together. Any final words, Regine?
Whenever someone says we're all in this together, I think of High School Musical.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
It's true.
That is my final words.
All right, we're all in this together, people. Please hit the like button on this video. Boop, that little like button. We got lots more to come for the show for 2022. It's going to take me a while to get used to 2022.
I'm so used to saying it.
Like even when I was creating the event, in fact, you know what it is? I'm positive I'm going to write 2021 or type 2021 out by accident still. Because even when I was creating this event for this show, there was like, I always have the date at the end of the title. And like, I almost forgot to change it because I was like, oh yeah, it's 2022 now, right? So that's going to be an interesting, I may have already made the mistake. I'll have to check. But
I've been saying 2022 since 2020. So it's fine. I'm used to it.
So
that's my title. So I mean, I have to say it.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's already on your thing. Yeah. Well, that means you have an advantage. 2021.
Well, it's also one of those things like, when are you getting married? 2022. So to me, 2021 was foreign.
Makes sense. Hopefully, I am cautiously optimistic now, but I've said this before. But I think at this point I am. The way Omicron is shaping up, it feels like this is the beginning of the end.
The final countdown.
Yeah, exactly. That's my hope. Like again, I'm still waiting. We're waiting on the data, but I think it signals a shift in how worried we need to be, which is we'll see.
I mean, we have an emceeing gig coming up in March, so let's hope that goes through. Oh my God, that would be the first time we're in person hosting something. Yeah,
that's right. 3 months. Let's see. Let's see if it works, if it happens. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you all next time. Tomorrow I'll be streaming. Probably do some Brawlhalla. Should be fun. And make sure you subscribe to Regine's channel. Find Regine on TikTok. Yeah, find me on TikTok. I've uploaded so much lately, so I don't know why. I was bored. Just do it. Do it. Just do it. And you can find me on TikTok as well, but I haven't posted anything in a while. However, a lot of stuff's coming to YouTube. I'm working on all day yesterday and the day before, I was working on some stuff. So,
Okay.
so stuff's coming soon, I hope. But okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye.